What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Thursday Night Football Pre-Lock Show here for a banger. Kids are saying we got a banger tonight. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But, got some new blood in the booth here. We've been on before one time this year, but we brought him back for an encore because he was so good that first time. The one and only Davis Mattek is in the house. Davis, how's your week treating you so far?
Oh, man, Chop, here in the Midwest, the great Midwest, bro, it's about 42 degrees outside. It's wet. It's rainy. My dogs are like, come on, man. I'm trying to go outside. I'm trying to go on a walk. And I'm like, dude, it is dark at 4:30 and it's cold. So I'm hoping that we have a banger of a football game tonight. I think we could. I'm optimistic that we could get some trading touchdowns tonight.
I like the cold weather. I'm in the minority, man. I like cold weather, especially like you gotta have everything. You gotta have all of it. You gotta touch every spectrum. You need the heat at some point, but you need the cold. So I can't go year round. I couldn't live in LA. Not enough differential there for me. I'm not into that.
True.
I've got to have something different every once in a while. So I like the cold weather during this time of year, right around Thanksgiving / Christmas, man. That's the bomb. But I'm in Texas, so I don't get a lot of it. But yeah.
No, having seasons is nice for sure.
Yeah. So we do have on paper, this looks like one of the better matchups of an island game this year because there means a lot here. These are the two unfortunately, these are the two top teams in the division. And they're going to square off tonight. And, that's a big one because you want to be – I don't know that anybody's catching Detroit for the number 1 seed, and that's really big, but it'd be nice to get the number 2 seed and have home field advantage up until you have to face Detroit, who's a juggernaut. But that's what's at stake here. And both these teams are really good. Phillies coming in on a roll. Washington has definitely overachieved this year. What's your general assessment of this matchup?
General assessment is Washington has done a great job, sort of death by 1,000 cuts. They just have these long drives, 12 plays. You got they're running the pistol duo set back there with like Eckler and Robinson. Sometimes they bring McWeapon in just for no reason. Just might as well bring him in there. And it's like, I think all that works, but the thing that the Eagles do better than anyone else there, since their bye week, number 1 in percentage of their total plays that are explosives, so plays over 20 yards, it's pretty easy to see why. A lot of their plays are not very good. Saquon Barkley, 1 yard, Jalen Hurts gets sacked. But like it can be 3rd and 19, and you're like, oh shit, they have AJ Brown, they have Devonta Smith, they have Saquon Barkley. I think probably we might see a little bit of the I think we might see the Commanders' defense get found out a little bit because their personnel is not great, but Dan Quinn's kind of held them all together. But Chop, it's the Jims and the Joes, not the X's and those. I think we see AJ Brown kind of punch these dudes in the mouth tonight.
I don't know, Davis. I used to be in that camp, and it used to be true, but we were talking pre-show, things change in the world of like the DFS, and now I could honestly say, and I said this the other day, I don't think coaching has ever mattered more in the NFL than it does now. And we're looking at it on the one side, on Washington side, like Cliff Kingsbury. Listen, some guys are just suited to be coordinators much more than they are head coaches. He's one of those guys. He is good at being an offensive coordinator, not a head coach. Dan Quinn. Okay, listen, I know Dan Quinn inside and out. This is fine. You guys enjoy it in Washington until the playoffs, and then they can have an actual game plan going into the game against your defense. Then you'll get found out for sure. You'll get discovered, and they'll run right down your throat. I get it. So, but he's done a good job as a head coach. And on the flip side, Philly overhauled their 2 coordinators, and they've come in and done well. You mentioned Washington might get exposed. And there's a piece of me that thinks Philly's secondary might get exposed too. I think they've overachieved.
So that's a good that's such a good point too. The way I understand it is Philly's front 7 is pretty good. And I mean, at the end of the day, like, do you want to ask me to scout defensive players? I probably wouldn't be in the top 1,000 people you'd ask in America, maybe top 10,000 people to scout defensive players. But you're right. Their corners are cheeks. They're not very good. The thing is though, is that's not That's not really even how Washington attacks these teams. Washington's been an effective deep passing offense, but they don't do it all that often. They don't. Their rate of throws 20 yards or more down the field is bottom third in the league. Now, Jane Daniels is good when he does it, but Cliff doesn't call it all that often. He's like, dude, Zach Ertz, Luke McCaffrey. And at the end of the day, Cliff wants to run the ball, dude. Cliff would run the ball 40 times right now if you let him.
Cliff's got that. He comes from that tree, that air raid tree. Just throw it short and just keep them off balance by, balance to those guys are just everywhere on the field, left and right, from sideline to sideline, but within 15 yards. That's balance to those guys, and that's fine. It works up to a certain extent. We'll see. I think the older Eagles corners are a little over the hill.
Oh yeah. Darius Slay is older than me, dude. I've been doing this a long time. Darius Slay older than me. I
don't think he's got much left in him, but they haven't been found out yet. But on the flip side, they brought in 2 young guys out of the draft. One of them, Quinyon Mitchell, I'm a big fan of. Cooper DeJean. Yeah, I don't know, man. He's been a really good slot corner so far. They found something.
No,
there.
he's good, dude. He's pretty good, man.
I don't know, man. Yeah, he probably is, but number one, I'm a Philly hater. I just hate Philly through and through.
That's fair, yeah.
And number two, I just want to make fun of him so bad for drafting a white cornerback that I know.
I'll never forget it. Someone tweeted Cooper DeJean is our Jackie Robinson, and it was that is why I'll never get off Twitter. Never ever, bro. You can't replace those moments.
Yep. So let's talk about this here. We got guys in chat. If you got any questions, fire them up. We're going to answer them all. We got about 20 minutes. We're going to hang out for about 20 minutes. We're going to walk through some SimLabs stuff. We want to answer your questions. We'll talk about some players. I do want to hit on some player props later and see if we got anything of value right there. And of course, at the very end, the Plums play of the night. We got to do that one. Let's see if we got any questions in chat right now. I know we got our FanDuel guy, Carolina guy. FanDuel, GPP, large field, MVP, and low-owned flex. Davis, you got anything on FanDuel?
Yeah, Brian Robinson Jr., I was looking at it earlier. Brian Robinson Jr. is like the nuts on FanDuel because he's a way better fit for their low volume. Doesn't matter. 2 touchdowns is like well in the range of outcomes for him. Low-owned flex, I would say on FanDuel, you want De'Ami Brown instead of Luke McCaffrey. Luke McCaffrey, like, much more likely to PPR scam. Like, actually, Luke McCaffrey had a 70-yard touchdown called back last week. So, what? I guess maybe I don't know what De'Ami Brown dropped the touchdown too. He dropped Jay Daniels left about 47 fantasy points on the field last week versus the Steelers. But yeah, I'll go Brian Robinson Jr. and De'Ami Brown.
Yeah, Taysom had an 80-yarder called back.
That ruined my. I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that at first, and someone showed it to me when we were doing the show on Sunday night, and I was like, could have lived my whole life not knowing that play got called back.
I was watching it on mute, and I was like, oh my God, he's gonna do it. And I didn't realize until 2 minutes later, there was a flag.
So painful.
That was bad, but
yeah.
So yeah, and speaking of Brian Robinson, another question was, so you like him on the FanDuel? What about as a captain on DraftKings?
I mean, if I was doing 150 lineups, I definitely would. Like, for example, I like him better than McLaurin. McLaurin is going to be, I don't know, 10%, 12%, something like that. Like Brian Robinson Jr. might not get a starting running back with goal line stuff, like might not be 5% in a high total game in captain. I was looking at projections earlier. The combined Jaden Daniels and Jalen Hurts make up more than 60% of the projected captain stuff. I mean, that's nuts. Not that they don't deserve it, but crazy.
Yeah, that's interesting. Let's see. Got some more questions here on DK. Large field GPP, De'Ami or Zacchaeus?
De'Ami. He's cheaper too. De'Ami is 1,800 and Zacchaeus is 3,000. And De'Ami's been playing more too.
Is Gonzalez a lock on FanDuel?
Yeah, they messed up the pricing. FanDuel's been, I got it. Shout out to FanDuel. They've been trying harder with their DFS product this year, but I don't know how this happens. I guess Zane Gonzalez was probably on their practice squad or something, but he's 5,000 as a kicker on
So what do you do with that? Do you because he's obviously going to be popular, and that's a really tough. That's a tough site to get different on showdowns. So what do you do with that?
I mean, it depends on your contest. Like if you're doing there's probably not $1 million contest on FanDuel, probably 200K to first. I would probably not play him at all. I'd just be like, he doesn't make a field. Like I would rather play Ben Sinnott probably than Zane Gonzalez. But if I was doing the $5 single entry, yeah, lock him in. But just do something else, like play Luke McCaffrey captain. Well, you don't even do that. You know, it's all relative to the size of the contest you're playing in.
Is this a Jahan Dotson revenge game?
It is. I would say, I mean, how crazy is that? Jahan Dotson got traded for a 3rd round pick. DeAndre Hopkins got traded for a 5th round. I'll say my skin in the game answer. I submitted my lineups already. I flat excluded Jahan Dotson. I went 0 of him in 150 lineups.
He's rough, man.
He's a terrible player, man. He's really, really bad. Yeah. Devonta Smith's birthday.
Oh, okay. Let's see. We got some. They don't like I guess they don't like my Philly hate, and
yeah, they don't.
It happens, guys. You know, everybody's got you got your. You know, everybody's got their niches, man, and it's fine. That's what sports is good for. You know, to have an actual opinion and go with it, and don't stray from it. Can you touch on Ertz revenge?
Ertz is just straight up a great play here, man. Like,
how is he still sticking around, man?
Cliff loves him. Remember, Cliff, the first year they had Trey McBride, they never benched Trey McBride.
Yeah.
And Ertz gets hurt. Then they come back again the next year. Trey McBride is still on the bench for 33-year-old Zach Ertz. Last year. Literally last year. Ertz had to get hurt again. He just loves him, man. He just knows, and he's actually playing good this year.
You ever see that account on Twitter? It is, the name of the account is "Did Zach Ertz break a tackle?" And it's just every week. No, not yet. Nope. It's been like 5 years, like 5 years running. He has not broken a tackle. It's a good account. Yeah,
I would guess Zach Ertz has not broken a tackle in 6 years. I can look.
Yeah. Has any love for Noah Brown? 6+ targets last 3 weeks. Jaden Daniels in Washington like to pass it a little bit. What about Noah Brown? You got any love for Noah?
Man, he's expensive, bro. He's 6,800, which I guess, I don't know. Sometimes, Chop, you ever see this in Showdown where the guy's actually priced up so much he's like a good play. Sure. Like I think Noah Brown probably. He's the same. He's actually more expensive than Dallas Goedert. So if you want a low owned play who could score a 60-yard touchdown, there you go. That's him.
Is it Hertzberg? There it is. Yeah, you gotta follow that one, man.
He should pin it. He should have his pinned tweet should be the last time he ever broke a tackle.
That's a good one. Nope. Nah. Never. Nope. I like it. Where are we at here? So Noah Brown could always catch a Hail Mary too. You just never know.
You never know. That's true.
Never know, man. Let's see. I tell you what. Let's go to the SimLabs. I'm sure they've got to be updated by now. We've got, well, maybe not. We got about 43 minutes till kickoff. Let's see. Have they updated since the inactives yet? That would be our key update.
I don't know where to check that on.
There's a little timestamp. Just give it a refresh and see that timestamp at the very bottom.
Very bottom. No, they haven't, but we can still run it.
Yeah, we'll run it and see what it's not going to be. I look, the inactives, by the way, there is 0 relevant inactives tonight. We already know what's going on. Lattimore hasn't suited up yet, and he won't be tonight. That would have been the one that moved the needle a little bit. So let's see what we got going on here. All
right, I excluded Jahan Dotson in the captain, and I excluded Jahan Dotson in the flex because I'm trying to help everyone. So obviously, when Jahan Dotson scores a 65-yard touchdown, you guys come and find me. All right, top. So this is interesting. I always find it interesting when it gives a really high rating to lineups with no salary left over. But what it looks like it's doing is it really likes multiple non-McLaurin Commanders wide receivers together with Jaden Daniels. Ertz and Zacchaeus Brown and Ertz with Daniels captain. That makes a lot of sense to me, actually, because
that's one way to get different with still maxing out the salary. That's for sure.
Yeah, I wonder. I'll have to go back and check my lineups later to see if I got any of that. But just as I'm thinking about it, that is Chop. It's too easy, man. It's too easy. That's why DFS is hard, bro. I just click.
Because everybody can do it now.
I clicked 4 buttons on SimLabs, and it gave me a lineup that I'm like, oh man, that's a shipper right there. Like, how that's great. That's a great lineup.
Go to those exposures and see what we're working with. What kind of spread out captain ownership did they give us?
So that is interesting. That is 20.6%. Jaden Daniels is way below what he's going to be in the field. He's going to be closer to like 35. It hates Saquon Barkley, and it really hates McLaurin. 3% McLaurin, 6% Barkley. We haven't even mentioned Barkley yet. I think I have a take here on Barkley. I think he's way better in the captain than in flex. Like if I was only building one lineup, because it feels like either he breaks off a 60-yard touchdown and gets the bonus and scores, or he does what he's done the 3 weeks where he's been bad, which is he's got about 67 rushing yards, 2 catches, and Hurts scores all the touchdowns.
Yes, it's and also for a showdown, you hardly ever see the SimLabs pump out the 2 quarterbacks as their top 2 captain guy. Like it just don't happen that often. So I think that is interesting, and of course they're buoyed by their running ability. So that's a pretty big factor there. But those are pretty interesting. What about the flexes? What kind of flexes they giving to you? Any weird names in there? Every once in a while they'll slip a name.
It's got more Noah Brown than Ertz. Oh, so that's weird. That's really weird because, well, I guess not, because Lineup HQ has Ertz for 8.5 and Noah Brown for 10.25. To be honest, that seems wrong to me. I don't know if I gotta go. Who's in charge of NFL? Is that Jamino? Is that Tuttle?
That's got to be Jamino.
That's got to be Jamino. I mean, maybe Jamino really likes Noah Brown.
Jamino has no say in it. Jamino's just a big walking number. It's numbers. It's ones and zeros. It's all data. It's ones and zeros to those guys. They don't have any say in anything. But I mean, I get it. I get it. What they're doing here. Look at that. They got
Calcaterra would be the interesting one. He played 62% of the snaps last week, even with Goddard back, and he's only $1,000, which I think is. And I've
never been a big Goddard believer when everybody's healthy for the Eagles in the passing game. So I don't know. I like that. It didn't want to put Brian Robinson in the flex at all. Like that's.
No, it's hating Brian Robinson. It's hating Brian Robinson and it's hating Eckler because I think probably in the not in the contest sim, but in the game sim, it's just like, dude, Jaden Daniels scoring these rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Well, and also they're terribly priced. The prices are awful because they had to price Eckler like Robinson might not play because he was like legitimately questionable. So he's 8,000. Brian Robinson Jr. is 8,200. It would normally be like Brian Robinson Jr. 8,200, Eckler like 6,400 or something. So they're just both really bad plays.
Yeah, it's intriguing. Yeah, you usually don't see that in Showdown where you get the starting running back at hardly nothing that. But
and it's not in 100. I ran 150 teams in SimLabs. It's not giving me one Johnny Wilson, Aeneas Smith. And that was with Jahan Dotson. This is with Jahan Dotson excluded. So that is kind of interesting too.
Which is weird because a lot of times I have to go in there and I'll just I don't want to have a lineup with a guy on it that's projected for a half a point. Like I gotta get him out of SimLab. I gotta say, no, X this guy out. I don't want that, They'll force. Now I'm looking at these builds and there's not one guy in there I could demonstrably say like, can't have that guy. He stinks, man.
You're more of a lineup HQ guy, Chop. You're more of a set my rules, set my groups. I like that guy.
To do that. I like to do that, man.
I know. But, I see your stuff in the expert survey. I'm like, man, this guy's such a lineup HQ guy.
It's all relative to to the contest, I guess. I'll actually, for showdowns, I don't mind running. Like tonight, when we get off air, I'll do some SimLabs.
SimLabs for showdowns for sure. I don't MME in main anymore. It's too hard.
It is hard, man. It's hard in all of the sports. It's difficult now, man. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there. But we've got a couple of outs, which is player props is being one of them. It's the new thing, man. And by the way, player props, if you guys want to head on over to like the old, let me forget the reword. Oh, Splash Sports. We got some player props over there now. Actually, pretty good. Splash Sports, they do the quick picks. It's the player props. The lines really don't move as fast as they will on the other site. So you got that going for you. It's nice. So if you want to head on over to Splash Sports, check out some of their stuff. Speaking of Splash Sports, I'm gonna pull that up right now. I want to do a little parlay on Splash. See if you can find me a winner, man. I need a little winner. So I'm gonna pull that up.
I have everything I have going right now. I have Jaden Daniels rushing touchdown with like a multiplier in everything. I've got like 3 like Maction college football things left. Is there Maction tonight, by the way?
There is one game. I forget if it's a MAC or not. There's just one solo showdown.
It's not the MAC. It's East Carolina.
That's it.
Okay. Tulsa. Well, I was making sure I didn't have a lineup that I hadn't set yet. Because I when they post the contest, I just register for everything. So I would have missed it if there was. Okay, we're good.
So you think Jaden Daniels gets a rushing touchdown?
Yes, I do. I do think Jaden Daniels gets a rush. I see it so clearly in my mind's eye. They're at the 4-yard line. He fakes it to Eckler.
Yeah.
Gets around the edge.
Okay.
Is this his first game against the Eagles? They haven't played yet, right?
Yeah. That's a good question.
It is.
Yeah. That's a good question. Okay, so we got Jaden Daniels rushing touchdown. What else you got for me in this game? One other prop that you feel really good about.
One other prop on Splash Sports. Do they have?
Just generally speaking, but Splash usually going to have anything you can find at the other spots.
Well, what I was going to say is the other thing that I have in all my pick'em stuff on Underdog is I have AJ Brown moved up the multiplier up to 99.5 receiving yards.
Okay. So you love the 80.5 then for sure.
That's our value. That is lower than it is on the sports books. I looked earlier. It's 83.5.
Yeah, that's the thing about Splash. They don't really adjust hardly at all. So you can get them.
They're trying to get you in their good graces. They want your business.
Yeah, that's a possibility too. The thing, and I said this the other day. Somebody needs to come up with where you can see Splash, Prize Picks, Underdog, DKP, where I can see all the line. Like everybody can line shop for the books, right? I can see. Oh, these guys got it at -2.5, but I can get it at 3.5 over here. You can see, but you can't see the player props from the player prop places lined up. There you go. That.
Scores and odds. You hearing this, man?
I brought it up the other day. They're so backed up in the weeds that won't happen. But that'd be nice though to have that. But yeah, you can get AJ Brown 80.5 receiving yards over here. I actually like that. That's like for him. That's literally one play and then just another short pass after that. Like that's nothing for him. 80.5. He'll get my particular one. I've said it. I think there's some exposing to be done in this game. I got to go F1, man. Terry McLaurin over those 61.5 yards on Splash Sports. I just think he has something. And again, like you said, they don't throw it deep often, but when they do target him deep, he's great, man. And it just takes one play at that particular yardage for F1. All right, we got about 3 minutes left. What do we want to do next? Do we want to do Plums play of the night yet? Let's do the Plums play of the night. We got about 3 minutes left. So I want to know from you who your guy is tonight. Who are you filling it in the Plums? Who's the guy for you tonight?
AJ Brown, most fantasy points in this game. More than either of the quarterbacks, more than Barkley, more than Devonta. And Zach Ertz over Noah Brown and Dallas Goedert all at the same salary. Those are my 2 Plum plays.
I like it. I like it. I got one for you, and I've done a good job, I think, of keeping it under wraps, real low key tonight. Haven't given anything away. But when we get off air and I go to SimLabs, I'm gonna lock one guy in my captain spot. One guy is gonna get. Oh yeah, that's the way I like to play it, baby.
I love it.
Living on the edge. That guy for me, I'm filling him in my plums tonight, man. Saquon Barkley. Okay. I think we're going to get some exposing of the Washington defense tonight in that run defense. And Saquon, he just needs a little bit of catch some of that variance and for Jalen Hurts not just totally vulturing him too much. There's got to be a point where Hurts says, man, you know what? I would need to keep Saquon in my good graces. Let's not take every single 1-yard touchdown from him. Let's give some to Saquon. So I think tonight's going to be that night. I like Saquon a lot. I know he's high dollar, but I don't think he's going to be all that popular in the captain spot.
No, he won't be. He won't be. He is more expensive than Jane Daniels on DraftKings, so he will not be. I'll tell you what, man. If that happens, it's going to be a sad night for me for a lot of reasons. Not just Showdown, for my best ball stuff. So I don't want to dissuade your plum play tonight, but I'm hoping you're wrong, Chop.
It happens all the time. No shame in that, Davis. We're almost wrapped up here, but I don't know. I haven't looked at the schedule. I don't know if we're going to be doing a show between now and Thanksgiving.
I'm pretty sure we are. I'm pretty sure
okay.
I'm back with you next week, and I hope it's a good game.
We're going to talk about it next week then, but I got some Thanksgiving thoughts.
All right, let's go.
Thanksgiving thoughts, but. So with that being said, guys, we do appreciate you tuning in. I don't see any more questions. I think we answered them all. Got you the plums, got you some props, did some SimLabs. You got about 30 minutes to go out there and take all this information, make it actionable in whichever way you want to do it. I wish you all good luck in GPPs. We will be back on Monday Night Football with another edition of the Pre-Like Show for our producer backstage, Stevie. Doing it up here at nighttime for us. For Davis, we always love it when he tunes in. I was your host, Chop. We'll be back next week. Good luck in those GPPs. For now, we're out of here.